What's up everyone, this is FP Sticks bringing you a video kind of going to be talking about team building for the Catacomb Cup. So this month's Sylph Arena format is the Catacomb Cup. I talked about it in a couple of videos back where I kind of went over the top Pokemon for the Catacomb Cup. But in this video I want to talk about specifically how I've kind of constructed a team here and some changes that you can make to it, but definitely some considerations that you want to make when building your team for Catacomb Cup. And as this is, I believe, the last Sylph Cup within this season, you want to make sure you finish out strong and have a solid team for that. So step number one, just put Umbreon on your team. Put Umbreon on your team. Like I mentioned in the first video kind of made on Catacomb Cup, nothing is going to be resisting dark type damage in this cup other than another like opposing Umbreon or like other dark types like Zweilous as well. But again, Umbreon, if you have the Community Day Last Resort, this Pokemon is crazy bulky. It outputs consistent damage. You don't really have to worry about baiting or anything. And it's just a very reliable Pokemon. Any cup that Umbreon is allowed in, it's always a very solid option. So I would definitely recommend you pick Umbreon. You could also consider Zweilous in this spot as well. Some benefits of Zweilous is that it can definitely hang with Umbreon and even beat Umbreon in some shielding scenarios. The Dragon Breath damage as a fast move is super impressive, and because there's no really like fairy types floating around or steel types really floating around, Dragon Breath damage is going to be hitting for neutral on a lot of things, which is really great. You also have access to Body Slam and Dark Pulse. Body Slam is a very energy efficient move. Even though you don't get stab on it, it's still going to output a decent amount of damage. Downside to Zweilous is it is a lot squishier than Umbreon, and personally when I run Umbreon, I like to use it kind of as a damage absorber. And then save my shields for glassier Pokemon. But I would definitely recommend Umbreon, but you could also go with Zweilous here. Some people I've seen actually run both Umbreon and Zweilous on their team. Definitely some things to consider. Number two, I would definitely recommend that you pick Sudowoodo. I think this is a staple Pokemon for the Catacomb Cup. You have access to Counter as the fast move, a fighting type fast move, so you're going to be hitting super effective on the rock types, the dark types. So you're really going to need that damage, especially in this cup, and the ice types as well. Then you have access to Rock Slide, which you will get stab on because Sudowoodo is a rock type as well. So Rock Slide is going to hit for a lot of damage. You also have access to Earthquake as a nice nuke move against opposing Sudowoodos, but Sudowoodo is another very consistent performing Pokemon in this cup, and just having a Pokemon that has access to that counter fast move is really going to help because that fighting type damage is somewhat needed in this Catacomb Cup. So I would definitely recommend having Sudowoodo. In your third slot, you need something that's going to hard wall Sudowoodo. You need something that's really going to counter it consistently. This is where I feel like some grass types come into play here. I'm going with Venusaur because, again, it's pretty consistent with its Vine Whip fast move and then Frenzy Plant and Sludge Bomb as the charge move there. Frenzy Plant is crazy busted. Another reason why I like Venusaur is because you can actually beat Umbreon again because Frenzy Plant is just crazy, crazy busted. It is so strong. It's also nice because Vine Whip is a fairly fast energy generation fast move, so you're going to be able to rip off these charge moves relatively quickly. And Sludge Bomb is nice because you can still hit for neutral damage against some of the bug types, so that's really nice. I've also seen some people run like some double grass users on their team where they'll choose like Venusaur or Ivysaur. Honestly, Ivysaur is just a worse Venusaur. So if you don't have a Venusaur with Frenzy Plant, you could choose Ivysaur, but there's no benefit to running Ivysaur at all. You don't have access to Frenzy Plant, which is a bummer. Instead, you have access to Power Whip, which is a little bit more expensive in energy cost, so that's kind of a bummer. But I've seen some people run some Razor Leafers like Gloom. I've seen some people have Gloom on their team. Again, you're going to be grass and poison type, so you're going to resist the counter damage from Sudowoodo, and you're going to be able to hit for super effective with the Razor Leaf damage. But again, anytime you run Razor Leafers, your energy generation is absolutely atrocious, and unfortunately Gloom has like very high energy cost charge moves, so you're not going to be really getting into too many charge moves. And personally for me, I enjoy Pokemon with kind of average energy generation, average damage output fast moves to allow me to really rip off some charge moves and burn shields. I've never been the biggest fan of like a fast move beatdown approach, but that's just my personal play style. You definitely could consider running some Razor Leafers in that spot. From here, you can kind of start to get flexible with your team. Honestly, this kind of trio of like Umbreon, Sudowoodo, and Venusaur I think is very powerful. And from here, you can kind of just add stuff to your team based on what more coverage you want. So I put Lapras on my team here because it's just a very bulky, dependable Pokemon, running Ice Shard as the fast move, which is a legacy move, and then Surf and Skull Bash. You're going to need Skull Bash for the mirror matches. Something to consider though, most people, when you're running Lapras, you're using it as a grass type counter. The thing that sucks is that you're still taking super effective damage from grass type damage. So you need to be careful of that. And since you're not rocking any ice charge moves, you're most likely not going to be getting any shields. I think some matches in this video that we're seeing here, by the way, all these matches are some practice Catacomb battles against my patrons. So thank you all for supporting the channel. But honestly, like if I am in the Lapras position and I'm stuck against a Venusaur, oh no, opposite is true. If I'm the Venusaur stuck against a Lapras, I'm not going to shield up anything that the Lapras throws at me because the Frenzy Plant is way more threatening to the Lapras than any Surf is. And most of the time, they're not going to go straight for Skull Bash. So some things to consider, but you also have access to Surf to hit Sudowoodo for super effective damage. But again, the counter is going to be hitting you for super effective, and the Rock Slide is going to be hitting you for super effective. It's also nice to have Lapras in case you run into any of those like bug flying types like Vespiquen. I've seen some of those flying around, so it's nice to have some super effective damage on that. And as well, Lapras can just outbulk a lot of Pokemon in this Catacomb meta. So I really like Lapras. This offers me a little bit more grass and flying type coverage there. That's the main purpose of that. And it's a pretty bulky, reliable Pokemon. I also have Beedrill on this current team. Beedrill is pretty glassy. This is a Beedrill that is running Drill Run, which was the Community Day exclusive move. This is going to give you some nice coverage against Sudowoodo. It's going to hit super effective on those rock types there. It's also going to be hitting for neutral damage on the grass poison types, but I'm also running X Scissor on that, which gets stab, and I believe it's a little bit more energy efficient. But I really like Beedrill. It can output a lot of damage, but you are going to need to save some shields for it. The Poison Jab, fast move, Sudowoodo does resist because of the rock typing. But again, if you're rocking it with Drill Run, you are going to have some play there. I think you definitely should have a Bug type on your team. Bug type damage is one of the few typings in this cup that's going to be able to hit the Dark types for super effective damage. Again, you need to look out because Bug does not resist Dark, so even though you're going to be outputting super effective damage with Beedrill or whatever Bug type you choose, you're still probably going to have to commit some shields, especially if you're rocking a glassier Pokemon like Beedrill. I've also seen Scolipede be utilized in this spot. I don't have a Scolipede build, but I think Scolipede looks pretty legit running Poison Jab, and then X Scissor and Megahorn is a really nice nuke there. Does a lot of damage to Umbreon. Honestly, Megahorn does a lot of damage to everything if it hits for neutral. It's just a very strong move, and Scolipede gets stab on it. So I would definitely consider Scolipede possibly in this spot as well. You could also consider Vespiquen as a bug and flying type. I think the moveset you're going to want to run with that is Fury Cutter as the fast move. So pretty high energy generation, spammy one-turn fast move there. X Scissor, and then Power Gem for sure for the mirror match. But Vespiquen is nice because it walls off Venusaur a little bit better because of the flying and bug typing there. You're going to double resist the grass type charge moves there. And Vespiquen is crazy bulky, and you're going to be able to rip off those X Scissors very fast if you're going up against a dark type like Umbreon or Zweilous. So you could consider that. And then in the final spot, this is totally just a flex pick here, but I chose Frostlass. Honestly, I have not been bringing in Frostlass that much into my practice Catacomb battles. Frostlass is really nice because Avalanche essentially like almost one-shots Venusaur. It might even one-shot Venusaur. I need to look into that simulation again. But that is a matchup, Frostlass versus Venusaur, that's very IV dependent, because some IV spread Venusaurs are actually going to beat Frostlass in a CMP tie, which is kind of crazy to think about. I thought Frostlass was way more attack weighted than that, but Venusaur is out there putting on the pressure, because both Frostlass and Venusaur are going to get to their charge moves at the same time. And so it really comes down to a CMP tie there. So you kind of want to double check the IVs on your Frostlass. I know my Frostlass personally is pretty garbage IVs, but it's shiny, so I like to use it. And I literally just have not found a better Frostlass than that. So it's kind of nice because my attack is a little bit more weighted, so I will win those CMP ties. But that is something that you definitely need to consider in the Frostlass Venusaur matchup. It is IV dependent, and it always comes down to a CMP tie. So make sure to go onto pvpoke.com and check their rankings tab out, sort by the CATACOMB Cup, and you can see some of the other top picks within this cup. I know Zweilous is like a really high up there top pick. I just don't really have a good Zweilous built, so I'm not running one. But no matter what on your team, you need to account for Umbreon. Do you have enough Pokemon on your team that have play against Umbreon? You need to account for Sudowoodo. Do you have enough Pokemon on your team that can consistently beat Sudowoodo? And then you also need to kind of keep Venusaur in check. I feel like those three categories are kind of the big hitters in this cup. So just make sure whatever you're rocking on your team, have some well-rounded coverage for that. Again, you can go into pvpoke.com and actually go into their team builder tab. I've made videos about this before. Go into the team builder tab and plug in your Pokemon that you're going to select for your team. Click on the rate team button and it'll give you a threat score and kind of show you how strong your team is against other Pokemon in the meta. So you can kind of double check what Pokemon are going to be really good against your team. But let's take a look at some of these battles. I know I talked through like the first half of this video, but I hope that information you guys found successful. This is the matchup I was talking about right here. I'm the Venusaur. I'm going up against a Lapras here. I know that they're just going to throw Surf, and I know that Lapras wins in the 2-shield. So I'm not going to shield this, because I know it's a Surf, and I know it can survive. And I'm going to get to another Frenzy Plant, which the Lapras has to shield. Lapras has to commit 2 shields just to have play here. I'm just going to let Venusaur go down and take the 2-shield advantage. And now you see me bringing in Umbreon to kind of be a damage sponge here. I'm just going to soak up all... Oh my gosh. Okay, that was a Skull Bash. Nice surprise play there for sure. Now this Lapras is going to be a little bit more annoying to deal with. But honestly, once I get Lapras out of the picture, I think double shielded Beedrill is just going to be the play that's going to win me this match. I even aggressively swap in Beedrill now to farm this down. They can bring out Sudowoodo, most likely, because the Rock Slide will be hitting for super effective. They bring out Scolipede, so I'm over farming here a little bit more. I am resisting the poison type moves there. And then I obviously am going to commit a shield here because it's I want to preserve this Beedrill, and I'm assuming whatever's in the back is also going to be weak to Beedrill. I know Bug does not resist Bug, but I think Poison resists Bug. So these Bug type moves on Beedrill are hitting for resisted damage. And you can see here it's a Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb is only single resisted on Beedrill because Poison resists Poison, but I don't think Bug resists Poison. But I do think Poison resists Bug. I might be confused about that, but I think that's correct. We're able to take that out there because I had the 2-shield advantage at the beginning, which was really great. Sudowoodo into Lapras. This is totally fine by me. I'm hitting for super effective damage. The Ice Shards are only hitting for neutral. The Surf is going to be hitting for super effective damage. So I'll commit 1 shield here. I'm over farming. It takes 4 Ice Shards for the Lapras to get to Surf. I get a shield on the Rock Slide, and now I switch in my own Lapras, and then they switch in their own Sudowoodo. But because I have the energy advantage, I'm actually totally fine by this. Looks like I still have Umbreon in this lineup too. I'm going to be able to get to this Surf. Shields are down. It's going to do a lot of damage. And again, Rock does not resist Ice. This Rock Slide is going to take me out, but that's totally fine. I can bring in my own Sudowoodo to farm this thing down. before it gets to a rock slide. Rock is another one of those typings where rock does not resist rock. That's something to remember. Out comes Lapras again, and I'm able to get this rock slide. It's going to take out the Lapras, and it's an Umbreon in the back. So this game is already over. I even switched an Umbreon to catch a foul play here, but I almost have a rock slide stored on my Sudowoodo. I'm up a shield. There's no scenario where Umbreon is going to win this. They did get an extra Snarl in, but Umbreon mirror matches take forever. It's one of those, both Pokemon are bulky, both are throwing resisted fast moves at one another. Luckily, you at least have Last Resort to throw to hit for some neutral damage. It's not as painful to watch as like an Azumarill mirror match where no one has Play Rough. Those are pretty painful. Or a Cresselia mirror match. Dude, from Ultra League, those are absolutely rough. So I'm over farming here. Again, just going to go straight Last Resort, but there's pretty much no scenario in which this Umbreon is going to win unless my app disconnects or something. That's my only lose scenario. Good game. Venusaur into Frostlass. This is a CMP tie dependent matchup here. So he did sneak in an extra Powder Snow there. They did sneak in an extra Powder Snow. So I need to be conscious of that. And I switch in my Beedrill. I for sure thought that I had Lapras in the back. This was a mistake. I did not mean to catch an Avalanche with Beedrill. I thought I had Lapras in that back spot there. And so I'm like, man, this is going to be so cool if I catch a double resisted Avalanche on Lapras. But Beedrill just came in and tanked all that damage. I'm just going to sacrifice Beedrill here. Totally fine by me. I can bring out Venusaur again to farm down. I still have 2 shields and a very healthy Venusaur. Sudowoodo's not going to be able to get a charge move off. That's really good for me. Probably Frostlass is going to come back in. And I switch into Umbreon. I have stored energy on my Venusaur. The Frostlass is staying in, which is pretty interesting. Avalanche does a good chunk, but I wanted to save the shields for whatever is in the back, and I'm really glad I did, because Frenzy Plant from Venusaur, I believe, is actually going to hit slightly harder than Avalanche. I don't shield this up either. Oh my gosh. Frenzy Plant definitely does hit harder. I guess I'm just going to have a double shielded Venusaur for my win scenario here. I'm able to get off a last second foul play, which is really good. Saving 2 shields for Venusaur. That is going to be my play. I bring out Venusaur. I will have to shield this up. Even if it's a Frenzy Plant, I don't want to tank that damage. And they switch into Frostlass. This is actually totally great. I wanted to throw a Frenzy Plant on Frostlass anyways. Able to take it out, and then I'll be able to take out this opposing Venusaur with Frenzy Plant, even though it's double resisted. Good game there. Going up against El Winman here. Beedrill into Lapras. I don't think this is a favorable matchup for Beedrill. Again, it takes 4 Ice Shards to get to Surf. So I just switch in Umbreon here, again, as kind of like just a big meat shield. So here you're going to see the Umbreon Zweilous matchup. My Snarls are hitting for resisted damage. The Dragon Breath is really chunking away. And the Body Slam spam is going to start coming to town. It's really the Dragon Breath damage that chips Umbreon away the most here. Body Slam is still a pretty decent move, but honestly, this Zweilous is probably almost in foul play range. I'm going to no-shield this and hope that I survive to get this foul play off. But I don't. That is so unfortunate. At this point, I'm actually going to bring out Venusaur for a very aggressive farm down. This was kind of stupid. I definitely should have brought out Beedrill here. Because I'm going to have to... Oh my gosh. So Dragon type obviously resists grass. And so I tried to go for a really slick, aggressive farm down. It did not work at all. My Venusaur is essentially just KO'd. I'm able to get to this Sludge Bomb, which is good. And they brought out a Grottle, which is just a straight up grass type. Sludge Bomb doesn't even KO that thing, but then I'm able to Poison Jab it down with Beedrill. Lapras still has so much energy loaded and is very healthy. X-Scissor does a decent chunk here. I'm going to be able to get another X-Scissor off. But Double Surf is going to be coming to town, and Beedrill does not appreciate that at all. I have to shield this up, but I'm going to get hit by another Surf right afterwards. Oh, but they overfarmed? It doesn't actually matter because they can just shield this up And I'm definitely, Surf definitely should be enough to take me out at this range. Yeah, it is. Good game. Oh my gosh. Do not bring in Venusaur on a Zweilous that is that healthy. Do not do that. That's horrible. Sudowoodo and Lapras, I'm totally fine with this matchup. This is favorable for me if I commit some shields here. The Surf is going to hit for a lot of damage. I actually let this first Surf go through. Okay. Bold move. Gonna throw the Rock Slide here. Lapras has to shield. And then I should be able to get to another Rock Slide really good for me. So again, I'm just going to take the shield advantage. I'm up 2 shields to 0, and I'm totally fine by that. I think, again, I'm going to go for a double shielded Beedrill win scenario here. So I just bring out Umbreon to soak up all this damage. Fine by me. I think I get a little greedy here with the farming. I have to eat another Surf. And I'm way too greedy. I'm going to get hit by another Surf. But I'm just going to have a very loaded Umbreon. Now I actually aggressively switch in Beedrill. Get a jump start on my energy here. And I have an Umbreon with like 2 Foul Plays loaded. Out comes a Alolan Graveler. This is where Drill Run is so nice. It's going to hit for double super effective here. It one-shots the Alolan Graveler. Out comes Zweilous. The Dragon Breath damage is really adding up. But X-Scissor is going to be hitting for super effective. And I have a Last Resort stored on my Umbreon that I should be able to get to. So I could have even just no-shielded that and then Last Resorted. But we're going to be able to take this out. Double shielded Beedrill is looking pretty nice. It's looking like a pretty nice strat. We're able to take that game again. Good game. Venusaur into Lapras. Again, this is a pretty fun matchup for Venusaur. So the Lapras switches out. Oh man, Scolipede. So Rock also does not resist bug type damage. So Mega Horn would actually hit for like a ridiculous amount of damage. So it's a good thing that I shielded that up. I am resisting the poison type fast moves here. And the Scolipede has to shield up the Rock Slides because it will hit for super effective. So I was calling that this would be a bait, and it is an X-Scissor. You can see it hits for neutral damage there, and actually hits for a decent chunk of damage. Wow. They're going to double shield their Scolipede. And at this point, I'm actually going to double shield my Sudowoodo and hope that I can get to this Rock Slide. They make a very nice switch. Very nice switch. I'm just going to go for the Earthquake here. Again, it's going to one-shot the Alolan Graveler. Out comes Scolipede again. I'm barely able to get to this Rock Slide. Heck yeah. This will take out the Scolipede. And then they still have the Lapras in the back. I'm going to Frenzy Plant it, and this should take it out. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you appreciate this Sylph content. And I will see you all in the next video.